In this video, I will share a secret with you. I want to tell you that the person you believe you need to forgive is not really that external figure who hurt you the most, but rather an image rooted deep in your subconscious. What if healing is not about changing your current relationship with your mother, but about transforming your relationship with the image of your mother that still holds invisible power over you in your mind? In this video, we will explore a truth that many people avoid facing, disturbing yet deeply liberating. The Mother Archetype has a profound and lasting impact on your emotional development, your sense of self, and most importantly, your ability to live authentically and freely. Inspired by the work of Carl Jung, this journey is not comfortable, but it is necessary and vital. Because until you face this fundamental, deeply rooted part of yourself, true healing and breaking free from repetitive cycles will always feel out of reach and incomplete. Carl Jung coined the term mother complex to describe the deep, complex subconscious patterns we form in childhood around the mother figure. According to this idea, a person who cannot separate from the mother archetype unconsciously looks for qualities of their mother in all the women they meet. For some, it's not only in romantic relationships but also in friendships. This complex can influence a person's entire life and often becomes a cause of unhealthy relationships. These patterns continue to unconsciously shape our reactions, expectations, and emotional behaviors long after we've grown up and become adults. The mother complex is not about blaming your mother. It is about recognizing how her spiritual imprint, her echo, continues to live within your psyche and inner world. These imprints often shape your emotional reactions in ways that defy logic or explanation. For example, you might find yourself deeply triggered by even the smallest criticism. You might struggle to accept pure love without doubt or questioning. Or, on the opposite end, you may constantly chase approval and validation from others, almost addicted to it. These are not just simple personality flaws, they are consequences. They are signs of an internal script, a program written in your most delicate years, when your nervous system was first learning what love, safety, and acceptance meant. Even if your mother is no longer physically present, the emotional echo she left behind can still be confusing and sometimes painful. Perhaps you were given conditional love. If you're a good child, you get affection. Maybe you were expected to meet her needs far beyond what you were capable of giving. Or maybe she was so absorbed in her own struggles and wounds that there was no room for your emotional needs and innocent battles. These experiences not only wounded you in the moment, they shaped who you believe you are and what you believe you deserve. You are not actually fighting your mother. You are fighting an inherited voice, a pattern still whispering between your fears, your habits, and your most vulnerable moments. Recognizing this invisible enemy and naming it is the first, most important step toward freedom. But simply acknowledging this truth is not enough. We need to examine more closely the deep psychological mechanism driving it, the archetype itself. In Jungian psychology, archetypes are not individual people. They are universal, timeless patterns of experience and emotion that exist across cultures. And the mother archetype is one of the most powerful and fundamental. At its best, it represents nourishment, unconditional love, safety, origin, and belonging. But when left unintegrated or distorted by traumatic experiences, it can transform into a prison with invisible bars, manifesting as control, fear of abandonment, or suffocating dependency. The inner mother is not always compassionate and nurturing. Sometimes she is harsh, critical, and relentless. According to Carl Jung, the mother archetype is a universal image present in everyone's collective unconscious. It tells you that you must be perfect to be loved, that you must sacrifice your needs and dreams to be accepted. It whispers that your needs are too much, that setting boundaries is selfish, and that your ambitions are dangerous. And while this voice may carry your mother's tone, her words, and her language, it eventually becomes the voice you repeat to yourself. Even worse, without realizing it, you carry this archetype into your adult relationships, especially romantic ones. You expect your partners to rescue you, to parent you, to heal wounds you haven't healed yourself, to fill a void only you can address. And when they inevitably fail to meet these invisible, impossible standards, you feel abandoned and disappointed all over again, just like in childhood. But they are not the ones abandoning you. The real issue is that the archetype projects unmet childhood needs onto them. To break this cycle, this tragic repetition, you must first name the archetype. Recognize it. Separate yourself from it. Observe how your behaviors and emotional responses are being directed by this internalized mother image, this old program. This is how you stop being controlled by a myth, by a story from the past, and begin writing your own free narrative. Yet, even as you try to rewrite your story, another, more insidious force may quietly hold you back. Family therapist Bert Hellinger's concept of invisible loyalty reveals one of the deepest, most hidden psychological bonds. It's the deeply rooted belief that going beyond your parents' pain, fate, or limitations, that becoming happier or more successful than them, is an act of betrayal. Deep down, this may take the form of an unconscious contract, a silent vow you made with yourself. It's as if, in order to make sure your mother doesn't carry her burdens and pain alone, you promised yourself you would never fully heal, never fully be happy. This invisible loyalty often shows up in self-sabotage, unexplained failures, sudden setbacks. Just as you get close to success, you underperform. Just as you begin to feel safe and secure in love, you pull away, start conflicts, or deny your own deepest desires and passions. Because a voice inside tells you they're too much, that you don't deserve them. These are not accidents. They are echoes of a child who learned, who internalized, that to surpass the mother's suffering, to move beyond her pain was to risk losing her love, or even losing her completely, and that is a heartbreaking truth. Sometimes you may even find yourself unconsciously imitating and reliving your mother's pain or her fate, as if it were a form of connection, a way of solidarity. If she was lonely, you end up lonely too. If she was silenced, you hesitate to speak and to find your own voice. This unconscious mirroring may feel like love, like loyalty, but in truth it is nothing more than spiritual stagnation, a true emotional prison. Your mother's pain is not something for you to repeat or to share in order to honor her fate. Your life is not her redemption story, nor the completion of her unfinished drama. Healing is not about negative rebellion or rejection. Healing is realignment. It is the courage to say, I honor you not by staying stuck, but by realizing my own potential. By rising, it is saying, I love you not by echoing your wounds in my own life, but by healing them within myself, by breaking the cycle. The most powerful, transformative step to breaking this pattern is reparenting yourself. This means learning to give yourself the care, the guidance, the compassion, and the acceptance you may never have consistently or unconditionally received before. It is about becoming, for the wounded and neglected child within you, the wise and loving mother the child always needed. It begins with listening. When sadness or grief arises, do not ignore it or push it away. When fear or anxiety appears, do not belittle it or try to dismiss it with logic. When you feel overwhelmed or inadequate, do not punish yourself for being weak. Instead, pause and ask yourself, what do I need right now? What would a loving, wise mother say to me at this very moment? How would she treat me? This kind of inner parenting is not a soft or passive process. On the contrary, it requires great discipline. It demands deep attentiveness and awareness, especially when you catch yourself repeating the same toxic dynamics, when your harsh inner critic gains ground, or when your own boundaries begin to blur and dissolve just to maintain harmony or peace. You must be both nurturing and protective. Validate your emotions, accept them, but also guide yourself with truth, with the reality of the present moment. Hold yourself in failure without shame. Embrace yourself without self-blame. Rest without guilt. Give yourself permission to celebrate your own achievements without needing approval or permission from anyone else. This is the rebirth of self-worth, the awakening of your inner strength. And if this feels foreign or artificial at first, it's only because no one has ever taught you this before. You are doing something completely new. But as you practice this inner relationship, this self-compassion, it becomes the solid foundation on which all your other relationships will stand. From this place, you can finally stop projecting the mother archetype onto others and begin to meet them as equals, as whole individuals. This brings us to the final and most liberating transformation. Breaking the pattern does not mean erasing or denying your past. It means consciously choosing not to let it define you or your future anymore. You may never receive the apology you deserved. You may never have the mother you longed for, the warmth you imagined, but that is no longer the point. The point is, you are no longer a child. Now you have the power to choose. If you've made it this far and you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. You can choose to stop identifying with that wounded, victimized version of your past self. You can choose to let go of the myth, that great lie, that healing depends on someone else changing or giving you something. You can choose to stop living under those old, limiting rules that were written for a version of you that no longer exists. This is not denying the pain or pretending it never happened. It is a conscious, determined decision to stop living inside of it. It begins in small moments, noticing when you say yes just to avoid guilt, when you shrink yourself to avoid jealousy or criticism, when you apologize simply for taking up space, for being yourself. These are the entry points. They are the echoes of that inherited mother voice, that old program. Question them. Who taught me this? Do I still want to carry it? Do I want to keep bearing this burden? This is where emotional adulthood begins. When you stop acting according to your habits and automatic reactions, and instead start acting according to your own intentions and values. When you allow your values, not your wounds, to guide your path and your future. When you catch yourself stepping back into an old pattern, pause, take a deep breath, and choose again consciously. Each time you do this, it is a major step toward ending the cycle. In real life, this doesn't look like one big dramatic breakthrough. It looks like thousands of small, conscious, brave revolutions. And it is not only about stopping the pain, it is about making room for something entirely new, for joy that doesn't require permission, for self-worth that doesn't need proof, for unconditional love that does not come from outside, but arises from your own dignity and integrity, without compromise. When you stop being loyal to what broke you and held you back, that is what you regain. And if these ideas opened a door in your mind, if this video reminded you that there is a way beyond endless cycles, I have a small request. In the comments below, write this short but powerful sentence that declares your decision to release the weight of the past and take responsibility for your healing and your future. I am ending the pattern. With this comment, you affirm your intention to break the invisible chains passed down for generations and to write your own free story. And don't forget to subscribe to the Jungian Guide YouTube channel for more in-depth analysis, psychological insights, and content on personal transformation. Remember, true healing does not come from waiting for someone else to change. It begins with the courage to make a new beginning within yourself.